Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, my dear friends, I would like to thank you all for joining the International Peace Institute MENA event today. Every day and every year, on 8th of March, Women's Day marks the achievements of women across social, political, and economic spheres. It is a day to honor the progress, a day to reflect on challenges that remain, and a day to come together and think collectively on the next collective steps. Today, as every day is Women's Day, I would like that we all show solidarity to women and girls across the world who are on the front lines of wars and conflicts. All our thoughts and hearts are with the women and girls of Ukraine. And our thoughts remain strongly with the girls and women in this region from Iraq, Afghanistan, Palestine, Syria, Yemen, and all other zones of conflict around the world. This year's UN Women is Gender Equality for a Sustainable Tomorrow, a theme that relies on imagining the future. The architecture of tomorrow and of our future are in the hands of women. We found ourselves in a tumultuous moment in modern history. Where we are coping with the repercussions of a global pandemic, the life-threatening challenges of climate change and wars, all which disproportionately affect women. Thank you for joining us. I will give the floor to my colleague, Dalia Al-Alawi, Policy Analyst of IPI MENA, to further elaborate on this day. Thank you, Dalia.
Thank you, Nejib. Building a sustainable tomorrow begins with addressing the question on gender equality, without which the SDGs will remain sterile slogans. Climate change is one of the most complex global challenges of our century. It will impact all countries, but its effects are being shaped by pervasive and entrenched gender inequality. Despite the fact that women are disproportionately affected, they do play a crucial role in climate change adaptation and mitigation. Recognizing the important contributions of women as decision makers and key stakeholders across sectors and at all levels can lead to successful long-term gendered solutions to climate change and pave the way to co-authoring a sustainable future. In large parts of the MENA region, established societal structures substantially limit the access of women to political and economic life. Women remain quasi-absent in policy shaping and economic life, and the key to sustainable growth in the MENA is inextricably linked to women's participation in all aspects of society. Government policy has an important role to play in materializing this reality, so that legislative frameworks should be up to date and fit for purpose, and should include labor and family laws as well as efforts to improve women's access to finance. Although gender parity does rely on economic frameworks, there are other important forces to consider simultaneously to this. Firstly, the role of civil society in advocating for gender parity and women's rights. Secondly, the role of the private sector in creating systems of accountability and instruments set in place to eliminate bias. And thirdly, the role of education in promoting gender equality among youth. As an organization that promotes peace and sustainable development, we are committed and determined to continuously promote and advocate women empowerment and to ensure that concrete steps are taken towards gender parity. Our overarching aim at IPI MENA is to promote regional integration efforts through the protection of these rights and reinforcement of sound governance principles to ensure sustainable development and durable peace in our region. As such, gender equality is a foundational component to these efforts. We have a dedicated Women, Peace and Security program, which provides research, analysis, and convenes key stakeholders to support the full participation of women and respect for their rights in all efforts to build and sustain peace. WPS projects cover various streams of policy guidance and analysis, including women in armed conflict, in peace operations, UN Security Council resolutions, mediation, and also women in leadership. All those streams of work are geared towards gender equality, and we at IPI pledge our commitment towards empowering women as they are the architects of a sustainable tomorrow, of our sustainable tomorrow. So today is a great opportunity to discuss where we stand currently and where we should aim to go together. So without further ado, I am delighted and honored to share the floor today with today's panelists, Her Excellency Sima Bahous through a video message, Her Excellency Samira Rajab, Her Excellency Shikha Dina bint Rashid Al-Khalifa, and Her Excellency Hala Wardi. Thank you.
Thank you, Dalia. Now we are honored to visualize together the video message by Her Excellency Sima Bahous, the Director General of the UN Women, New York. Unfortunately, she cannot join us live given the time difference, so she sent us this video that we will visualize together. Thank you so much. Sound, Dalia?
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, I am truly honored to be part of this webinar organized by the International Peace Institute, Middle East and North Africa to discuss the limited access of women to political and economic life in the Arab states, despite women's relatively high levels of education. This mismatch is what we at UN Women and many of us refer to as the Arab states paradox. This paradox leads to unnecessary financial loss, intellectual loss, and developmental loss to the Arab states. And yet, if addressed, it could be turned into a powerful accelerator of development, particularly in areas pertaining to climate change, which is the underlying theme of this year's CSW. Allow me to share with you exactly how and why women can and must be a fundamental force in addressing climate change in the Arab states. My dear friends, in June 2021, Kuwait recorded a temperature of 53.2 degrees Celsius, while Oman, the United Arab Emirates, and Saudi Arabia all recorded over 50 degrees. A month later, temperatures in Iraq spiked to 51.5 degrees. On the regional level, the Middle East is expected to be 4 degrees Celsius warmer in 2050, bearing heavy consequences in terms of heat stress, water scarcity, with severe impacts on biodiversity and ecosystems, requiring comprehensive, responsive measures. There is good potential in the Arab states to help address climate change through women's employment. That is because the percentage of women pursuing an education in STEM fields, which are uniquely important to climate change mitigation, is higher in the Middle East than in other regions. More women employed in the green economy will help address three numbers that are critical for the Arab states. 1, the expected increase of 4 degrees Celsius before 2050. 2, the 21% employment rate of women that has stagnated in the region since 1990s. And the $575 billion in lost GDP annually in the region due to the low levels of women's employment. My friends, we can achieve our goals for gender parity and climate resilience by working together in solidarity and with urgency. I thank you.
Thank you, Madam Sima Bahous, the Director General of UN Women. I now have the honor to invite Her Excellency Samira Rajab, Special Envoy of the Royal Court, Belgium, to deliver her statement. Her statement will be delivered in Arabic. Copy of the English will be displayed on the screen. Your Excellency, you have the floor.
شكرا نجيب. أصحاب السعادة، ضيوف الكرام, Your Excellencies, the honorable guests, السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بداية أشكر معهد السلام الدولي على هذه الدعوة الكريمة وعلى اهتمامها بالاحتفال بيوم المرأة العالمي من خلال اختيار موضوع في غاية من الأهمية حول دور المرأة العربية في بناء مستقبل مستدام. أهمية هذا الموضوع تكمن باقترانه بظروف دولية جديدة تحكمها تحولات كبيرة في البنى التنموية بمختلف منظوماتها الاقتصادية والسياسية والاجتماعية والعلمية والتعليمية والصحية وغيرها، والتي ستتبعها تغيرات جوهرية في أسلوب ونمط الحياة اليومية في جميع مناطق العالم. فما كان يعتبر في السابق مجرد حديث عن هذه التغيرات بات واقعاً نعيشه بكل تحولاته وتطوراته المتسارعة. وسأوجز كلمتي هذه حول أحد أهم هذه التحولات، وهو التحول التكنولوجي والرقمي الذي نعيشه كل يوم وفي جميع منظوماتنا الحياتية، وعلاقة ذلك بمستقبل التنمية وتقدم الشعوب والأمم، مع التركيز على ضرورة دعم المرأة العربية في هذا الاتجاه لمواكبتها بحرفية واقتدار لهذه التحولات، لما لذلك من أهمية في نجاح الخطط الاستراتيجية التنموية القادمة، ليس فقط في المنطقة العربية بل في جميع دول العالم. لقد أصبح المجتمع الرقمي أو مجتمع المعلومات جزءاً لا يتجزأ من حياة إنسان القرن ال21، وبات من الصعب تجاوز هذه الحقيقة، فلم يعد بالإمكان أن يعيش الفرد معزولاً عما يجري بمحيطه المحلي والعالمي، ولا باستطاعته أن يبقى خارج نطاق الخدمات والأعمال والأنشطة الحياتية التي أصبحت ممارستها تمر بالضرورة عبر التطبيقات التكنولوجية والرقمية في جميع المجالات. وليس بغريب أن يتم اعتماد معيار معدل المعرفة والتعامل مع هذا التحول التكنولوجي والتطور الرقمي كأحد أهم مؤشرات ومعايير تقارير التنمية البشرية والإنسانية الخاصة بالأمم المتحدة، شأنه في ذلك شأن معيار امتلاك شبكات الإنترنت والاتصالات ومراكز البيانات كأحد أهم عناصر قوة الدول ونفوذها. إن العالم يتطور في مجال الذكاء الاصطناعي ويتجه سريعاً إلى الجيل السادس من الشبكات الرقمية، ويعيدنا بحياة أكثر تطوراً أمام التحديات التي ظهرت بداياتها في مواجهة الجائحة العالمية، وذلك من خلال وضع التقنيات المساعدة على دعم وسائل التباعد الاجتماعي ووسائل التعليم والتعلم عن بعد والعمل والتسوق ووسائل العمل الحديثة في عالم المال والأعمال والصناعة، مما خلق مجتمعات حديثة بمتطلبات جديدة تعتمد أكثر على نوع جديد من أدوات الإنتاج والمعرفة، ونوع جديد من المنهجية الذهنية، واهتمام باكتساب مهارات تكنولوجية متطورة تتناسب مع سرعة التحولات الاجتماعية والثقافية والاقتصادية الجديدة. أن التحولات الكبرى التي يعيشها العالم باتت ترسم خارطة ثقافية جديدة في كافة المجتمعات، خارطة لا زالت ضبابية ولكن فيها بعض المعالم التي يمكن أن نبني عليها تصوراً يستحق الاهتمام لندير مستقبل ناجح ومستدام ونتفادى مخلفاته الضارة. إنه عصر جديد وثقافة جديدة تعيد المرأة إلى المنزل بسبب الجائحة العالمية لتعتني بعائلتها ومنزلها وتعليم أطفالها، بعد أن خسر هؤلاء الأطفال أيضاً فرصة الخروج إلى مدارسهم ولقاء أصدقائهم والتعلم المباشر بالحضور المدرسي، وأصبحوا محصورين أكثر وأكثر في العالم الافتراضي ومحرومين من ممارسة مهارات التواصل الواقعي. فأين وكيف سيكون دور المرأة عموماً والمرأة العربية خصوصاً في هذه الحياة الجديدة؟ الحقيقة أعتقد بأن المرأة في الوطن العربي باتت أمام المزيد من الأعباء ذات المتطلبات النوعية الدقيقة. أصبح دورها الجديد والملح يتطلب المزيد من اكتساب المهارات التقنية والتكنولوجية والذكاء والمعرفة والمعرفة بالعالم الافتراضي وأسراره وتقنياته ومستجداته المستمرة دون توقف. أولاً من أجل بقائها واستمرارها في أدائها المهني والقيام بمسؤولياتها العملية التي تحقق فيها كيانها واستقلالها الاقتصادي وتستثمر فيها معرفتها. وثانياً لمتابعة ومراقبة تعليم أطفالها من المنزل وما لذلك من أهمية قصوى في المراحل التعليمية المختلفة. وثالثاً لممارسة نشاطاتها الخدمية في العالم الافتراضي الذي بات من الضرورات الحياتية الملحة. إذن المرأة العربية اليوم تتموضع في مواقع معرفية وثقافية جديدة كي تتمكن من أن تكون الأم والعاملة والمهنية في المنزل وفي خارجه، وهي أدوار من أهم متطلباتها المزيد من الذكاء والمعرفة والتحديث المستمر في مختلف المجالات المعرفية التكنولوجية والرقمية. فيا ترى هل حان الوقت أن نقول إن الذكاء والمعرفة والتمكن من المهارات التقنية والتكنولوجية بات من أهم متطلبات الأدوار الجديدة للمرأة، والتي تعد أدواراً خارقة وليست اعتيادية بالمقاييس السابقة. وفي تصوري أعتقد أننا سنشاهد قريباً المرأة السوبر التي تملك معارف كثيرة في آن واحد، معارف باتت من أهم عناصر العمل والنجاح، لم تكن من المتطلبات القديمة في الممارسات اليومية بشكل عام. وهنا يجب أن نؤكد بأن القادم قد يشكل تحدياً صعباً في الخارطة الثقافية والمعرفية للجيل الجديد والقديم على حد السواء من النساء العربيات وغير العربيات. وبات تنمية هذه المعارف والمهارات وتمكين المرأة منها بجدارة من أولويات خطط التنمية البشرية المستدامة، لتبقى المرأة عنصراً فاعلاً وشريكاً رئيسياً في التنمية. شكراً جزيلاً.
شكراً سيدة سميرة رجب، أستاذة سميرة رجب، على هذه الكلمة المهمة، وسعداء باعتماد the superwoman. I think every woman is super if we are aware of the tasks and the responsibilities undertaken by women in all societies, and from the mother, the manager, the nurse, the cook, in addition to her job. So I think she is every woman is a superwoman in all her tasks. I now move to my friend and colleague, Shikha Dina Al-Khalifa, Assistant Secretary General for Bahrain Supreme Council of Women. Thank you for sharing with us your thoughts, representing this leading organization in Bahrain, in charge of empowerment and development of women. Shikha Dina, you have the floor.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Nejib. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me first to thank the MENA chapter of the International Peace Institute for organizing the present event, coinciding with national and global celebrations of International Women's Day, which focuses here on the role of women in the sustainable development of their countries and societies. The issue of women in sustainable development being an internationally pertinent topic is also very relevant to our MENA region. Given the current significant progress of women's economic participation, we firmly believe that these panels create an active platform for knowledge exchange and knowledge transfer and sharing best practices on the national, regional, and international levels. Thus, we would like to take this advantage of today's opportunity to really discuss what has been achieved in terms of advancing the participation of women in the development process as a key determinant to sustainable development and growth for the future of women in Bahrain. Now, significant strides have been made over the last 2 decades in accelerating the progress of the status of women and the extent of their participation in all fields of public life. And the establishment of the Supreme Council for Women as a national machinery with the reporting directly to His Majesty the King, mandated with an oversight and advisory role on all matters relating to the status of women in public life, is considered a pivotal moment in the history of our country, demonstrating the political will of its leaders to reinforce the multiple roles that women play in national development. And since its establishment, the SCW continues to fulfill its mission through its mandate to develop a comprehensive national plan for the advancement of Bahraini women. Now, the planned strategic implementation phases and initiatives have been outlined with an evidence-based, targeted, oriented methodology, and that undergoes a continuous monitoring and evaluation process. This ensures the alignment of the plan with the National Economic Vision 2030, the Sustainable Development Agenda, and most importantly, the aspirations of Bahraini women and the significant accomplishments they've achieved. The economic participation of women and their integration in the development process is truly considered a fundamental pillar to the 5 core disciplines of the national plan, which takes into consideration the socioeconomic aspect of achieving family stability, the importance of maintaining an economy based on the principle of equal opportunities, and increasing prospects of lifelong learning available to women to reinforce their competitiveness in the labor market. Now, accordingly, the plan is implemented through a set of tools, including several targeted strategies tackling specific issues pertaining to economic empowerment, such as the National Initiative for Gender Balance in Future Sciences. Additionally, much of the progress achieved in terms of equal opportunities for women is due to the implementation of a national gender balance model. The model outlines a framework of pillars aiming to ensure gender balance at the national level through policies, gender-responsive budgets, knowledge management, impact measurement, and accountability. The model is applied through the establishment of equal opportunity committees, which are mandatory in the public sector institutions and encouraged in the private sector and civil society. These committees are tailored to mainstream women's needs based on the principle of equal opportunities between all employees, beneficiaries, and services provided by institutions. The Council also recognize the importance of increasing women's participation in entrepreneurial activity by providing them with the necessary ecosystem of services and guidance that has given them an equal and steady start on the trading platform. Numerous initiatives geared towards increasing the access of female entrepreneurs to finance through the provision of monetary funds have been introduced over the years, in addition to launching various accelerator and incubator programs. Today, the competitive contributions of women entrepreneurs in Bahrain has reached a global scale to over 51 countries, as we have sought to provide them with the international platforms needed to showcase their products and services. Examples of such including Export Bahrain as an initiative and a dedicated marketplace at the Bahrain International Airport. Now, ladies and gentlemen, to ensure thorough implementation of these initiatives, the Council has set multiple monitoring and evaluation mechanisms, including a national gender balance report approved by the state government, which measures the contribution of men and women in public life. Moreover, a national observatory to monitor gender balance indicators was established to continuously monitor the progress of women at a national level, benchmarked to regional and international statistics. These tools have allowed us to track the progress achieved in fully mainstreaming women in the development process through capitalizing on opportunities and addressing any notable gaps in representation. Evidence has proven over the years that this methodology is vital to ensuring the highest level of gender balance and representation in all fields. Some of these key indicators are as follows. Bahraini women today represent in the government sector 55% as of 2020, which is 17% higher than 2001. In the private sector, Bahraini women make up today 35% of Bahraini employees, which is 11% higher than 20 years ago. It's worth noting that the percentage of Bahraini women's participation in the total workforce as of 2021 has reached 43%. Now, Bahraini women also are significantly represented in influential fields and at all levels of their representation in leadership positions, and it has witnessed a gradual increase over the years, where, for example, just to take an example of women ambassadors, we've seen that there has been an increase in the percentage of female ambassadors at a rate of, today they constitute 16% in 2022, whereby the percentage of women in diplomatic posts constitute 33%. Now, in terms of entrepreneurial activity, which we mentioned earlier, national efforts have really led to an increase in women's representation over the years, whereby today we find that women constitute 47% in 2021, whereby they were only 15% in 2001, whereby today more than half of the virtual business owners today are women. So as a result, you'll see that You know, it's important to highlight today the fact that we would like to take this opportunity to affirm Bahrain's commitment to remaining steadfast to its efforts to maintain the progress made so far in terms of advancing the participation of women in development through targeted policies and initiatives that promote equal opportunities. We firmly believe that mainstreaming women's needs is indispensable to the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals, which our country aims for and will continue to play a growing role in the process. Finally, we would like to thank once again the organizers of this panel for providing us with this opportunity to share our national best practices in terms of the advancement of women, which ultimately fall in line with achieving the global 2030 Sustainable Development Goals. Thank you again, and thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Shikha Dina. It's always a pleasure to hear and to witness the progress achieved by Bahraini women. Thank you personally. Thanks to Stada Helen Ansari and all Bahraini women, and our gratitude goes to Shikha Sabika, Royal Highness Shikha Sabika, for leading the Supreme Council of Women towards these achievements. You are a source of encouragement and pride, and we wish you all the best, and we will keep working together to witness and contribute to the progress you are working on regarding women in Bahrain, women in the MENA region and beyond. Thank you again. Now I will give the floor to my friend, my compatriot, Hala Wardi. Hala is a famous writer. Let me be very modest with her. I would advise you, I mean, I'm not doing publicity, to read her books, or many books, on very important matters related to our history, to our civilization, and to our beliefs and faith. Hala will be speaking Arabic, as we will try to take some notes regarding her speech. Hala, you have the floor, my friend. تفضل هلا.
شكرا نجيب. أصحاب السعادة، سيداتي سادتي، السلام عليكم. أود في البداية أن أعبر لكم عن سعادتي بالمشاركة في هذا اللقاء، كما أود أن أتوجه بجزيل الشكر لصديق العزيز نجيب الفريجي مدير المعهد الدولي للسلام الذي دعاني إلى المساهمة في هذا الحوار. كان من المفروض أن أتدخل خلال النقاش، لكن بسبب التزام مهني سأضطر إلى المغادرة بعد قليل، لذلك سأطرح عليكم منذ بداية اللقاء بعض الأفكار التي راودتني منذ أن قرأت عنوان الندوة وورقة عملها. لما نتحدث عن وضعية المرأة في منطقتنا، منطقة الشرق الأوسط وشمال إفريقيا، نحن دائما نركز على مسألة الهشاشة الاقتصادية والاجتماعية، وكذلك على إشكالية اللامساواة مع الرجل، وهذه بلا شك جوانب مهمة وجوهرية. لكن اسمحوا لي أن ألفت الانتباه إلى نوع خاص من الهشاشة نادرا ما نتحدث عنه لأنه غير ملموس، وأقصد هنا الهشاشة المعرفية والرمزية التي تشكو منها المرأة في منطقتنا. فإني أعتقد أن تشييد عالم أفضل يكون أكثر ازدهار وعدالة وسلام لا يمر فحسب بالارتقاء بوضع المرأة الاقتصادي والاجتماعي، بل يمر أيضا بتثمين دورها في ميدان البناء المعرفي، وبالتحديد في مجال يهمني بشكل خاص وهو كتابة التاريخ. فمن أكبر المظالم التي تتعرض لها المرأة هي تهميش دورها التاريخي والتقليل منه وأحيانا تغييبه، وهذا يعود إلى الاحتكار الذكوري لكتابة التاريخ. فحتى لما نقرأ تاريخ الحركات الإصلاحية التي دعت لتحرير المرأة نلاحظ أنه يقع التركيز على دور الريادة الرجالية في هذا المجال، وهنا على النساء الأخذ بزمام الأمور والمساهمة بشكل فعال في ترك بصمتهن الخاصة صلب الذاكرة الجماعية. فقد كانت لي دوما قناعة راسخة، وهي أن مهمة محورية تنتظر المرأة في مجتمعنا وهي إعادة امتلاك التاريخ وكتابته من وجهة نظر نسائية تكون أكثر إنصافاً لمكانة المرأة في تاريخ منطقتنا، وتخرجها من الصورة النمطية التي تجعلها سجينة دور الضحية أو الشاهد الصامت على العصر. فمنح المرأة المكانة التي استحقتها بالأمس يساهم في منحها المكانة التي تستحقها اليوم وغداً. جميعنا يعلم جيداً أن بناء سلام مستدام في منطقتنا لا يكون فحسب وليد قرارات سياسية تمليها المصالح الظرفية، بل هو نتيجة عمل عميق تقع فيه عملية ترتيب لأوراق الماضي. وهنا أعتقد أن المرأة بإمكانها تقديم الإضافة الحقيقية، حيث من خلال قراءتها للتاريخ تتمكن من تسليط الضوء على شخصيات وأحداث وقع نسيانها أو تجاهلها. وهذا ما حاولت القيام به في أبحاثي المتواضعة، حيث سعيت إلى تقديم نظرة لتاريخ الإسلام المبكر ركزت فيها على الدور المهم الذي لعبته النساء، ومجرد إبراز هذا الدور يغير ملامح هذه الفترة التاريخية وتمثلنا لها. فلما تعيد المرأة كتابة التاريخ هي تنتج بالضرورة معنى متجدد عبر إعادة تشكيل سرديات جديدة. كما أرى أن إبراز دور النساء في التاريخ لا يجب أن يبقى مناسباتياً أو أن يوظف فقط في إطار النضال الحقوقي من خلال الاحتفاء ببعض الشخصيات النسائية الرائدة. فتثمين مكانة المرأة في التاريخ عملية يجب تعميمها وتعميقها، لأن لها بعداً استراتيجياً يراهن على المدى البعيد، حيث أنه يؤثر في المجال الرمزي والذهنيات ويتوغل في صميم المخيال الجماعي. فكم كنت سعيدة لما رأيت صورة أول طبيبة تونسية على الأوراق النقدية. نحن في حاجة إلى مثل هذه المبادرات. وأنا دائما أذكر بما قاله الفيلسوف ابن رشد في كتابه جوامع سياسة أفلاطون، وقد اخترت هذا المقتطف لأنه في صميم موضوع حديثنا اليوم. يقول ابن رشد: إن مجتمعنا لا يتيح مجالا لتطوير مواهب وطاقات النساء، يبدو لنا وكأنهن خلقن للإنجاب وإرضاع الأطفال، وقد دمرت حالة العبودية هذه قدرتهن على تناول الأمور الأكبر. ومن هذا الوضع للنساء ينبع البؤس المنتشر في مدننا. فالنساء أهل لفعل جميع ما يفعل الرجال من حرب وفلسفة ونحوهما. ويدل مثال بعض أمصار إفريقية على استعدادهن الشديد للحرب، وليس من الممتنع وصولهن إلى الحكم. أولا يرى أن إناث الكلاب تحرس القطيع كما يحرسه الذكور؟ يتحدث ابن رشد هنا عن دور المرأة في الحراسة، ففعلا هي الحارسة، لا فحسب بالمعنى الأمني للكلمة، بل أيضا بمعناها الرمزي. فهي قادرة على حراسة الذاكرة والمحافظة عليها، لا بتحنيطها وتجميدها، بل بإعادة خلقها وصياغتها. فالذاكرة الجماعية منطقة نفوذ محورية على المرأة فرض مكانها فيها. وهنا أود أن أطرح عليكم ختاما مقترحا عمليا، وهو مشروع مؤلف جماعي من عدة أجزاء يحمل عنوان المرأة في تاريخ منطقة الشرق الأوسط وشمال إفريقيا من العصر القديم إلى الفترة المعاصرة. وأقترح أن يخصص الجزء الأول منه لدور النساء في تاريخ الديانات السماوية الثلاث، لأن هذه الديانات تشكل أرضية ثقافية مشتركة لدول المنطقة. وأنا متأكدة بأن مثل هذه المبادرات التي تعدل الذاكرة وتحيي الجانب المهدور فيها كفيلة بخلق فضاء حوار وتقارب حقيقيين، وبتعزيز جسور الماضي المشترك، وهي بذلك كفيلة بتوطيد العلاقات في الحاضر والمستقبل. فأنا مؤمنة بقدرة المرأة على المساهمة الفعلية في إحلال سلام دائم، لأنها تحمل مقاربة حضارية مختلفة ستكسر حتما الجدران الخفية التي شيدت نتيجة تاريخ طويل من الصراعات. أشكركم على حسن انتباهكم.
شكرا عزيزة هالة. بالفعل كلمة مهمة وفي الصميم، وأشكرك على ذلك،
شكرا لك.
الله على محاولة تلخيصها بالإنجليزية. I will try, wish me luck, to give you some ideas about what Hala just said. Of course, she noted the fragility or the economic fragility of the majority of women in our region, and she drew our attention to a special case of and rare case of fragility, which is the knowledge fragility of women and the symbolic fragility that women in our region suffer from. And one of the issues that women suffered from, or the offenses women suffered from, is the marginalization of her role in history and the diminution of that role, and sometimes just ignoring it. And of course, she blames that to the monopoly, or the male monopoly in writing history, especially when it comes to the reformist movements that called for the liberation of women. And even in that case, there is a kind of focus on the leading role of men in there. She also said that building a sustainable peace in our region cannot be done with mere political declaration or resolutions that are dictated by given interests, but it has to be the result of a deep work that will rearrange the cards of the past. And here she believes that the women can play or give the added value, or the real added value, through a new reading of history that would shed light on women personalities that have been ignored or sidelined. And this is what Hala has been trying to do through her researches. She calls them modest. I will not agree with that. That she tried to make an assessment to the history of early Islam, where she focused on the key role played by women, and the mere fact that these roles are highlighted is doing justice to women in writing history. Hala is calling for, is coming with a suggestion, which would be an initiative, is to publish a publication that she calls it Mu'allaf Jama'i, from different chapters or segments under the theme women in the history of the MENA region, from the ancient times to contemporary history. And she suggests that the first part of this publication would be devoted to women in the history of religions, or the revealed religions, three revealed religions, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. And she is convinced that such initiatives would rectify the memory and we revive the wasted side of women's role in writing this history. And I will limit myself to that. I'm not doing justice to Hala. I will ask her to send us this speech in writing. Thank you هالة. شكرا جزيلا عزيزتي هالة. الآن أفتح المجال لمن يريد التعليق والمساهمة. Now I open the floor to those who want to put questions to our panelists and to make statements and contribute in this webinar.
Nejib, I have to leave, sorry.
Okay, you're excused and we are sorry that you are leaving us.
Me too. Thank you again, Nejib, and have a nice day, everybody. I think that I will have the opportunity to meet you again.
By the way, Hala is now member of the Royal Academy in Belgium, and I will congratulate her for that honor. And I wish that we in our region will create similar academies where, I mean, I am a globalist, but I'd like to have our countries think of such institutions. And this is a call to everybody. Thank you, Helen. See you soon.
Goodbye.
Yes, any comment, any, I see the note from my dear friend Faisal Abdelkader, ex-UN resident coordinator and UNDP rep in Bahrain, and former advisor to the Royal Court. He would like to, congratulations. Faisal would like to make a statement if you wish. Unmute yourself, Faisal, briefly. You are muted, Faisal. Can we unmute Faisal?
Is it okay now?
Yes, it's okay.
Okay. First, good morning to everybody. And let me start actually by really greeting everybody and first congratulating you, my friend Nejib, for arranging this important webinar. And also I would like first to start also by congratulating actually Bahraini women and for their achievements. And I must say Bahraini women had been very visible in the Vision 2030. And looking at most of the reports, especially the report which was submitted in 2018 on the voluntary report which is submitted to the United Nations about the Sustainable Development Goal. And since I understand that there is a second report will be submitted, I think, next year. In this respect, actually, I wanted to bring something which is very important related to the achievement of the 2030 Sustainable Development Goal, and in particularly regarding the role of women and as it relates actually to goal number 17. And my concern actually here is related to the South-South cooperation, which also this aspect is very important to be addressed, since the United Nations is going to have a special celebration for the South-South cooperation that will be in I think late or September, I think, in Bangkok. And in this respect, actually, I wanted particularly the role of Bahraini women. And when I look at the implementation of this goal 17, which is related the implementation and realization of the global partnership for sustainable development, I believe that there is a lot of issues that Bahraini women could contribute as they relate to the partnership. In particularly in capacity building, and which is actually what I wanted to say here. There's a lot of aspects which has not been really not reflected and not visual for others. And since I'm encouraging really the role of the Bahraini woman in terms of many of the achievements they have, particularly as it relates to partnership, and as it relates to the access to technology, as it relates to access to innovations, as it relates to many aspects that comes under the indicators under the goal 17. So what I wanted to conclude is I wanted first to really encourage that they have to make visible their achievements through again going back and revisiting the goal 17 in terms of the partnership, because I think there is a lot of issues which Bahraini women can really contribute to the overall achievement of the 2013, particularly the role of the goal under the partnership. And this actually, I'm putting this aspect not for actually for debating, and I would like to hear more from the panelists, and in particularly from other. Not from the not only from the Bahraini women, not only from the Council of Women, but also from others who can really give some ideas of how can we make their part, this global partnership, Bahraini women could be visible in the global partnership.
Thank you so much, my friend Faisal. Notes taken, given your history as UN partner of Bahrain. I read what my friend Maggie Nadi, the Charge d'Affaires or the Deputy Chief of Mission of the US Embassy, but I'd like her to maybe voice that message. So for our interest all, I don't know if everybody reads those messages. Maggie, you have the floor.
Thank you, Nejib. Yeah, I just wanted to thank Shikha, Dina and the Supreme Council for Women for all that they have been doing, in particular in the way of women's economic empowerment, which is quite impressive. I think what I have been very pleased to see more recently is some of the open discussion, candid discussion about women's social issues as well. In particular, the ability of women to pass citizenship on to their children or to non-Bahraini spouses, which is an issue I know is not just in Bahrain, it's a regional issue. But there has been the recent step to allow women to pass residency. So I am wondering if this is yet another area where Bahrain can show regional leadership by taking these positive steps forward. And the impact is really most important on the children if they are stateless and don't have the same rights to education, healthcare, and other things. So I'm really pleased both with the dialogue and even in Parliament, the Shura Council and Council of Representatives about these issues, which I know remain very sensitive, but I'm very hopeful that there is positive change that is already beginning to happen. And I just want to thank Shikha, Dina and the Supreme Council for Women for their role in encouraging this, which I know has been very significant. So thanks, Nejib.
Thank you, Maggie. Indeed, we reiterate our encouragement and appreciation of the achievements in the legislative level in favor of women in Bahrain. And as I fully agree with you, Maggie, that we should request that the Supreme Council of Women share these achievements with the other countries in the MENA region, as it is an example to follow, and within the cooperation between the MENA states, the MENA women entities and structures. Again, thank you very much, Maggie, and thank you, Dina, for conveying our messages to your leadership. Any other comment?
Shikha Dina put her hand up, I think.
Yes, Shikha Dina, you have the floor.
Thank you, Dr. Nejib. Thank you. Thank you, Maggie. Thank you, Dr. Faisal, for your comments. I'll start maybe with Maggie's comments, and then maybe I'll move on to Dr. Faisal. So, thank you so much for acknowledging the progress that's happened so far in terms of women's advancement here in the country. And you're right, it's a very much complex matter that spans across multiple areas. But specifically talking about, nationality, and just to be focused, it's important to mention that, yes, there have been great steps in terms of ensuring women's ability to be able to pass on their nationality to their children. And I believe that a process is in place today whereby women have the right to apply Bahraini women have the right to apply for their children to receive the Bahraini nationality. And there is a joint process that exists in partnership between the SCW, Ministry of Interior, and the Royal Court to be able to look at these cases on a case-by-case basis. And as you've seen that over the last 20 years, there have been thousands of nationalities that have been granted and passed down from mothers of Bahraini nationality to their children. And in order to be able to ease that process, from the moment that they've applied, or even before, even without applying, up until the day that they receive their nationality, there have been numerous measures that have been taken place by the state. So today, as per law, the children of Bahraini women married to non-Bahraini have the right to free education, free healthcare services. They are exempt from nationality fees and residency fees. As well as numerous other measures that have been taken into consideration in order to alleviate and to be able to bridge these matters up until nationality is received. So automatically from day one, the children of Bahraini women are granted numerous benefits. And we had worked quite closely with government as well. And a recommendation has actually been put forth by government to Parliament regarding an amendment to the nationality law. So that is also something that is within the pipeline and exists and is being discussed. So like you said, there have been numerous, let's say, measures that have been taken place, and we will continue to follow them up as it is our mandate to do so. And we will continue to work with all of the, the legislative authority as well as government to be able to see how more, what more can be done to enhance, family stability overall. Now, moving on to Dr. Faisal, thank you for your comment. Goal 17, of course, is a very important goal. And, as per our mandate, the SCW works quite closely with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to be able to look at how we can expand our area of cooperation all over the world. And as you know, being a consultative organization, it's very much important for us to work quite closely with our partners, excuse me, in Bahrain. And through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, we do work quite closely with our colleagues all over the world and our counterparts, not only to be able to exchange knowledge, but also to be able to export the experience that Bahrain has managed to, accumulate over the years. And this is quite important because, as you mentioned, there are a lot of common challenges all over the world. And for us to be able to listen to how others have managed to tackle this issue, what we've managed to do as well is quite important. And with that, it is, a very healthy, kind of strong discussion, and very much beneficial to Bahrain. And often, if not always, we always, seem to add more to the knowledge of our counterparts when it comes to issues relating to women's advancement. So we will continue to highlight what Bahrain has managed to do in support of women and their families. And but as you know, it is very much a continuous process. It is something that we will continue to do as things progress in Bahrain. And, we welcome all of your suggestions, Dr. Faisal. So please feel free to share them with us, and we would be more than happy to hear what you have to say, especially with your experience and background. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Shikha Dina. Very ample answer on so many achievements, and again we congratulate you on that. Please, Shikha Dina, if you can send us your statement today, I would appreciate that. Now I give the floor to our friend, the German ambassador, Kay Bookman. Kay, you have the floor.
Yes, thank you very much, Nejib. It is very difficult to be concise on such an important topic, but I will try to do so. First of all,
take your time.
I think it is very important to underline the comments of my dear colleague Maggie Nadi. We very much welcome and commend the efforts of the Supreme Council for Women, and of course also of all legislators and all stakeholders involved in the process of enabling it for Bahraini women to pass on citizenship, to pass on residency right for spouses and children. And to highly commend you on the results already achieved. And I'm also particularly grateful to you for putting the focus on the Commission on the Status of Women, which is commencing now, and where actually Germany this year is particularly highly engaged because we are one of the 4 co-chairs. And we feel that the 2 topics, the 2 keywords of today's webinars, the role of women and the sustainable tomorrow, that the Commission on the Status of Women can make this link very plain and to show how women are not only particularly under the effects of climate change, but that they can also be, that they are crucial actors to mitigate climate change and to turn the trend around. And we know that also Bahrain and the countries of this region are working very hard in New York together to achieve this goal. And therefore it is very good that this and timely that this webinar puts the focus on these 2 aspects. In Germany, of course, you have noticed there is a new government since last December, and there is an even stronger focus on these elements. Foreign Minister Annalena Baerbock is now the first female foreign minister in Germany's history, and she's also the 2nd member of the Green Party. And the Ministry of Foreign Affairs now holds the responsibility for international climate negotiations and diplomacy. And when our new foreign minister presented the foreign policy agenda in our federal parliament, she explained the concept which in Germany and maybe also elsewhere has raised some eyebrows, the feminist foreign policy. And she explained what is meant by this concept. And it is actually very, very simple. It is about equal representation, it is about rights, and it is about resources. As long as 1/2 of the population is not equally participating, is not sufficiently represented, or is not being paid on an equal footing, plenty remains to be done in Germany, in this region, but of course also in many others. And so today's webinar, I think is a great contribution to our joint efforts, and I'm very grateful to IPI and all the panelists for putting the focus on these topics.
Thank you, Your Excellency, Kay, and the support of Germany to all efforts towards gender equity today for a sustainable tomorrow are highly appreciated, and we look forward to further interaction. I think you're an exemplary ambassador who almost never missed our activities, and we draw pride and encouragement in that. Is there any other comments? I don't see hands raised. In this case, I would like to thank all our speakers, all our participants, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. It is a very important event. We have to make every day a Women's Day and believe and work on materializing gender equality or gender equity today for a more sustainable tomorrow. And tomorrow is in few hours. We have to work together in that regard, and I will count on your support, your countries, your institutions, the government of Bahrain, to whom we should renew our gratitude for hosting IPI MENA, and all participants. And I'd like to conclude by thanking my colleagues, Dalia, Soraya, and Gabriel for having made this event a success. I wish you all the best, and make sure that we're open to your suggestion to further elaborate on the means and ways to achieve a better future, not only at the women equity level, but all other components of our agenda to achieve the proper and sustainable regional integration in the MENA region and beyond. Thank you again. I wish you a very, very happy Women's Day, and look forward to our next meeting.